So earlier today, news broke that the man who was been alleged to have been sending suspicious packages containing crude pipe bombs has been identified. The man named his name is Caesar Sayak. Now, the 56-year-old was arrested Friday morning near a mail processing facility in Plantation, Florida. So he was from Florida, which makes sense because a lot of the return addresses were for Debbie Wasserman Schultz. There was some speculation of how does this guy know who Debbie Wasserman Schultz is if he's not in Florida? Well, he's in Florida, so yes, likely knew. Okay, so that answered that question, right? Now, here's the thing. Uh, all of his targets have been prominent critics of President Trump. Now, I want to show you his social media because now, of course, whenever something like this happens, you go pry into their past. You look into their past for obvious, things that might be clues to the reason why they might have done these, these attempted bombings. And so, look, first they looked at his criminal record. It's got a very long criminal record, including larceny, and of course, in 2002, calling in bomb threats, doing bomb threats. So, this doesn't seem to be like a new thing for this guy. But anyway, I'm going to show you his social media because right now investigators are saying, well, we don't know the motive. Well, and not only that, but Republicans themselves are saying, oh no, this he must be like a Democrat. Well, I'm going to show you some things from his own social media that he posted up that might clear up what the motive is and settle whether or not he was a Democrat or a liberal plant, right? So, get some pictures here. Let's start out with this one. So, that's his van. I don't know, man. I can't tell if this man was a fan of President Donald Trump. I might have to see more evidence. Okay. What about this? So this is him in his Twitter account. Okay. The Swamp. Well, you've got Eric Holder. You got Debbie Wasserman Schultz over there. Obama. The Clintons. People from, media. Supposed liberal media. I always laugh when I say that. Okay. Look, hey, you know what? That's fair. That's fairly standard for Republican circles. To be fair, right? And look, I really wish the actual swamp would be drained. But it turns out, if you want to drain the swamp, you actually got to get rid of the money in politics. That ain't going to happen. At least not without an amendment. But anyway, back to the pictures, right? So, here's the next one. Conspiracy about George Soros. Of course. Oh, look, it's all the different things that George Soros funds. Okay. So, there's, Soros stuff. So I guess that makes sense. There's more. Here we go. More anti-George Soros stuff. This time aimed at Democrat in Florida, Andrew Gillum. Andrew Gillum is running for the governor's race in Florida, the governor's seat in Florida, against Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis, of course, a big Trump guy. So here we go. More anti-Soros conspiracies. Fun. Now, look, you could say, hey, Jeff, you didn't really address whether or not he's a Democrat. Because, look, there are people out there that don't like George Soros. I don't like George Soros. Now, I don't like George Soros because he's more establishment. He's pro-corporate because he runs a literal hedge fund. That's how he got rich. But more than that, he puts a lot of money in politics. So if you want to point out, hey, this guy funds a lot of things. Okay, yeah. You know what? I don't think his money should be in politics. I don't think anybody's money should be in politics. I don't want George Soros' money in politics. I don't want Tom Steyer's money in politics. I don't want the Koch brothers' money in politics. I don't want any money in politics. Get it all out. Because I think that that gives whoever's giving that money a bigger voice than the American people. But see, that's why I'm not in favor of George Soros. That's why I'm not in favor of these billionaire donors. But that's not why they're against that. Oh no, they love billionaire donors. They love the Koch brothers. They love Sheldon Adelson. The reason that they hate George Soros is because he's Jewish. Not only that, but of course, you give money to some liberal causes, things like MoveOn.org or whatever, or any foundation that espouses liberal causes. Oh, yeah, well, of course that's why they hate you. But anyway, now, again, going back to, okay, but how do you know he's a Trump fan? Well, I think this picture pretty much sets it up. Not Soros. Yeah. So that's him at a Trump rally saying, "Go Trump," and Kanye. Oops. Now, look, for a lot of you watching, you might be like, yeah, dude, no shit. Well, okay, why are you even showing me this? Already, we know he's a Trump fan. Well, because there are already claims on the right that he is a left-wing Democrat. But wait a minute. Here's the thing. Why lie, right? That's my question. Why lie and say he's a, he's a left-winger when it's fairly obvious that this man is a Trump person, that he's a registered Republican, that he is a member of the far right. And look, it's not as if he represents all Republicans. Anybody with a brain knows that, of course, that guy doesn't represent all Republicans. Just like, certain people don't represent all progressives or all Democrats, right? Or like the guy who, for example, shot Steve Scalise and the Republicans in the baseball league. He doesn't represent all Bernie Sanders supporters. He doesn't represent progressives. He doesn't represent Democrats. No, in fact, all the progressives and Democrats called that guy out and rightly so denounced him. We didn't say, oh, that guy's a right-winger. No. We said, look, this guy, we don't agree with him. What he did was absolutely wrong. He doesn't represent our ideology. And so Republicans, you can say the same thing without saying, okay, guy's a Democrat. Why lie, right? But here's the thing, right? It comes down to projection. So, look, there's Republicans out there. And I'm not saying all of them, but there's a lot of Republicans out there and think that Democrats are nothing but pure evil. And that only Democrats can be violent. For example, you had Rush Limbaugh the other day saying the same thing. Oh, no, Republicans would never do anything like this. This guy is a registered Republican. So, yes, they can do things like this. And more often than not, right now, the right wing is more violent in America. Now, look, to be honest, violence doesn't have an ideology, okay? Violence is violence, right? In the real world, anybody can be violent, and it's not limited to one political ideology or another. It just so happens that right now in America, the lion's share of political violence comes from the right. 71% of all terrorist attacks in America, just over the past year, are perpetrated by right-wing domestic terrorists. Now, that's weird because they're in charge. They have all the power. Why would they be doing these attacks? Well, it's because they've been emboldened. Not only that, for the last decade, 74% of all domestic terrorist attacks have been perpetrated by members of the far fringe right. 2% done by liberals. And, of course, 24% done by extremist Muslims. So, look, there are instances, yes, in the past where left-wing has definitely engaged in violence, right? State-sponsored violence and everything. But that's not true today. So all this, oh no, it's the left wing that's violent. That is projection. Because right now they know that there are certain members of the right wing, the far right, that are urging violence. Gavin McInnes, by the way, member of the Proud Boys, far right organization. They call themselves a gang, and he's out there saying Trump supporters should be more violent. Now, who's the ones calling for violence here? So, just say, a lot of this is just projection from the far right, but that is who this guy really is, and so don't let any of these other publications tell you otherwise.